Murder. Murder most foul. I always wanted to say that. This morning, Zachary Carlisle was found dead in his room. The doors were locked and a suicide note was found near the body. A private investigator was summoned to look into the apparent suicide. The PI will end up in a closet as soon as he steps foot in the mansion. 47 will take over the investigation. He will not stop until all the secrets of Thornbridge Manor are revealed. We activate the mission story, means, motive and opportunity. We go towards the mansion. Alexa Carlisle had two brothers, Montgomery and Zachary. The older brother, Montgomery, was supposed to inherit the Carlisle fortune, but he fell off a balcony 46 years ago. Alexa was next in the line of succession. She inherited it all. After Montgomery's death, Zachary became a recluse and stayed in the manor for the rest of his life, spending his time tending to his garden of exotic plants. This morning, he was found dead in his room. The doors were locked and the suicide note was found near the body. Suspecting foul play, Alexa Carlisle summoned Phineas Whitmer, private investigator from London, to look into her brother's death. Right now, the private investigator is walking towards the front door. We shall meet him inside. I took the crowbar because I did not bring a lockpick with me. We go inside the house. We hide in here and wait for the private investigator to arrive. The private investigator has arrived. He will wander a bit and he will find himself over here.
That is Phineas Whitmer, the famous private investigator, hired by Madame Carlisle this morning. I'm curious why he's here. Maybe you should do some detecting yourself, 47.
That's the plan. Alexa Carlisle was informed of the private investigator's arrival. She will come here to meet him. We wait.
Mr. Whitmer, thank you for coming on such short notice. A great tragedy has fallen upon us, and I need a quick resolution, handled with absolute discretion.
Results and discretion are my speciality.
Very well. I suppose you will want to start at the crime scene.
In my experience, a thorough examination of a potential crime scene is half the job done.
Good. Fernsby will take over from here.
I am Mr. Fernsby, the butler. Madame Carlisle has asked me to assist you in any way possible. Mr. Whitmer, I understand that you've traveled from London. Would you care for some refreshments? Or do you prefer to go straight to Mr. Zachary's sleeping quarters?
I prefer to get started.
As you wish. If you'll follow me, sir.
We follow Mr. Fernsby.
I feel obliged to point out that current affairs surrounding Madame Carlisle are of a delicate nature. You may be familiar with the recent announcement of her death. You will probably learn that a staged funeral is scheduled to take place tomorrow. Madame's children were not informed until this morning that their mother was in fact not dead at all. So please bear with them if they seem affected by the rather unusual situation. I trust I do not need to remind you that there will be consequences if word gets out that Madame Carlisle is still alive.
I'll consider her dead when I leave.
Before you inspect the crime scene, I will tell you this. The case concerns the death of Mr. Zachary, Madame Carlisle's younger brother. He was found dead in his bed this morning. The door was locked from the inside, and a suicide letter was found in his room. However, Madame Carlisle suspects foul play and will not accept that he took his own life. I've prepared some information for you, so please do come and see me when you've finished your investigation of the crime scene. This is Mr. Zachary's room, to my right.
A locked room murder mystery, 47. I trust you'll get to the bottom of this.
There are 6 clues inside this room. We shall find them all. We start by examining the suicide note.
Zachary's suicide note. Also, a sample of handwriting. It could be relevant to compare to other samples to establish its authenticity.
Next, we examine the laptop.
Zachary was shopping for new Wellingtons last night. Not exactly what you would expect from someone suicidal.
Indeed. Next, we take a look at the body.
Why don't you use your camera to scan the dead body, 47?
Throat markings indicate a rare, short-lived plant poison killed him. Spread shows time of death at around 10 o'clock last night.
You do know your poisons, 47.
I bet he ingested the poison while having a nightcap. We scan the bottle and the glass with the camera. Now we go to the book wall. Pull this book.
A hidden door.
It's a secret passage. This could explain how the door was locked from the inside.
The last clue is here.
A photocopy of the floor plans. Somebody's been researching the secret ins and outs of Thornbridge Manor. I believe you've done a thorough search of the crime scene, 47. Maybe it's time to see the butler. I'm curious about the information he's prepared for you.
I am curious as well.
Mr. Fernsby, I'm done with the crime scene.
Did you establish a time of death?
Zachary died around 10 o'clock last night.
Well, that means the staff were off duty. And Madame Carlisle and her security didn't arrive until this morning. That leaves Madame's family and myself as the only persons here when he died. And before you ask, no, I do not have an alibi. I was alone in my office at the time of death. Here's the material that I prepared for you. It's a list of the possible suspects and their quarters. Hopefully that will help you keep track of your findings. Please come and see me when you've solved the case, and I will take you to Madame Carlisle.
Press F1.
This is very useful information, 47.
This is a list of suspects. Here we can see what we found at the crime scene. And these are other locations of interest. We shall examine those later. During your gameplay, you may revisit the Intel menu as many times as you like. Just press F1 and go to the Intel tab.
So how does one solve a murder mystery, 47? Motive, means, and opportunity, I believe. May I suggest you ask the suspects for alibis? Or perhaps do you prefer searching the manor for clues first?
I shall interrogate the suspects and I shall search the house for clues in the order the investigation requires. Right now, the butler is at the top of our list of suspects. First of all, he claims he was alone in his office at the time of Zachary's death, which means he has no alibi. Second of all, the butler did it is a well-known cliché of mystery fiction. So, we investigate the butler first. We break into his office.
That is the door to Mr. Fernsby's office.
There are 3 clues in here. We go to the fireplace. We find a half-burned diary.
Zachary's diary. This is big. He was about to confess to the world that he and Alexa murdered their older brother Montgomery 46 years ago. And apparently, Mr. Fernsby helped make the murder look like an accident. And 47, the handwriting doesn't match the suicide letter in his room, proving he didn't write it himself.
Holy shit! Montgomery's death was not accidental. It was murder. Murder most foul. Alexa and Zachary killed their brother. We also discovered that Zachary did not write the suicide note. The handwriting doesn't match. Which means it was not suicide. It was, wait for it, murder. Murder most foul. We continue the investigation. We We picked up a list detailing the preparations needed for tomorrow's fake funeral. It was written by Mr. Fernsby. The handwriting does not match the suicide note. Mr. Fernsby is in the clear. There is one more clue to be found in here.
Painkiller. Lethal if you use enough of them.
But not the poison used to kill Zachary. Of course, Madame Carlisle doesn't know that. Are you considering to frame the butler, 47? Mr. Fernsby clearly didn't commit the murder, but I think you have enough evidence to convince Madame Carlisle he did. Maybe you should tell him you are ready to present your findings. Unless, of course, you want to do some more detecting, 47?
I do. I want to do some more detecting. When you play the mission, my dear Hitman fan, please take the mansion master key. I forgot about it and I had to rely on the crowbar to open locked doors. We continue the investigation. Next, I shall focus on Patrick Carlisle, the son of Gregory and Emma. We'll find him in the library.
Patrick Carlisle. Can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Shit, it's that sneaky butler, isn't it? He ratted me out. Elaine, give us some privacy, would you? Don't tell Mother, okay? She's really tense these days, and the last thing I need is more hassle. I took that pretty blonde, Rosie, for an evening stroll. I mean, how the fuck am I expected to cope for an entire weekend in this shithole? I'm bored out of my mind. So, is that it?
What did you think of Zachary?
Creepy as hell. No ambition. Imagine deciding to live in a museum. You know, Father says Zachary and Alexa used to be two of a kind. He had a great future ahead of him, then suddenly, he just gave up everything. What an idiot. Thank God Daddy chose looks and brains over pedigree when he married Mummy. I don't have to worry about the inbreeding so customary in these circles. If that's all, I think I'll get back to my slow death by boredom.
Did you see anything suspicious last night?
No. I reckon Zachary topped himself. I know I would have. Or perhaps Mr. Fernsby. I don't like him. He could have done it.
Patrick says he was with Rosie last night. I wonder if she will confirm. We go to the kitchen.
Such a gentleman. He gave me his coat and all.
Rosie, you need to forget about Patrick. No good's gonna come of it. Stick to your own kind.
You mean like Chris? He treated me like shit. All he wanted to do was play his stupid video games, never any romance. I deserve romance.
Rosie, tell me what you did last night.
I'm in trouble, aren't I? I spent the evening with Patrick. We met after dinner and I went home at 1 in the morning. He said he needed someone real to talk to. When he looks at you, it makes you feel like the center of the universe, like a real princess.
But now he just ignores her.
Well, he's under a lot of pressure.
He's an idiot. That's what he is.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary? Any strangers outside the house?
No, we saw no one outside. Except Patrick's mother, Emma. We were sitting on the bench behind the greenhouse talking when she came out and we had to hide. You won't tell her about me and Patrick, will you? She'd insist Madame Carlisle fire me. I'm sure of it.
Too right she will. She's always going on about how things will change once she's in charge of Thornbridge Manor.
Rosie confirmed Patrick's alibi. He is no longer a suspect. We continue the investigation. Next, we interrogate Rebecca, the youngest child of Alexa Carlisle. We find her in the trophy room.
Hi, sir.
Rebecca Carlisle, can you tell me about yesterday evening?
We don't really see much of each other, my brothers and I. I suppose it takes our mother's funeral to bring us together, and even then, it's not like we sit on each other's laps. Now, let's see. Patrick, Gregory's son, disappeared straight after dinner. You know, I think he might be in some sort of trouble. Edward wanted to go as well, but Gregory convinced him to stay for a few drinks before they went off for a pint at the local at 8:45. I swear Gregory enjoys Edward's discomfort over staying here. I had a conference call with my New York office at 9, so I spent 3 hours on my laptop in my room and went straight to bed afterwards. I don't know about Emma. She did act a bit strange. You know, I bet she was making lists for changes needing to be done once she gets her hands on Thornbridge Manor. Quite the shock she had when Mother arrived during breakfast. Is that everything, Mr. Whitmer? I do have a lot to see to.
Tell me about Zachary. Did he act strange last night?
You know, now you mention it, he was a lot more chatty than usual. He wanted to know about my connections in the publishing business. Apparently, a friend of his is writing a book, which strikes me as very peculiar. I didn't think he had any friends. Is there anything else you want to ask me?
Anything else you feel like mentioning?
I may be wrong, but I saw Mr. Fernsby, the butler, leave Zachary's room early this afternoon. And he seemed a bit startled when he saw me in the hallway. It's probably nothing. Oh, and one more thing. Please be kind to Edward. He can only take so much.
Rebecca claims she initiated an online conference at 9 o'clock last night. It lasted 3 hours, which means she was not killing Zachary at 10. If her alibi is confirmed, that is. We go to her room.
So, how long have you been working here?
About a month now.
You're American.
That is the door to Rebecca's room.
I shall use the crowbar to open the door, but first I have to make sure no one is watching. In Rebecca's room, we'll find 2 clues. The first clue, Rebecca's notebook. After scanning it with the camera, we find out the handwriting does not match the suicide note. Rebecca's laptop is on the table. Let's examine it.
I can see from the log that Rebecca was in a conference call from 9 p.m. to midnight last night.
The handwriting doesn't match and the alibi was confirmed. Rebecca is no longer a suspect. We continue the investigation. We go to the dining room to interrogate Edward, the middle child of Alexa Carlisle.
Did I understand correctly that I should give it to Rebecca?
Exactly. She holds the other one. I want her to have the file on our record.
For God's sake, Emma.
Why don't we get any kind of explanation? It's bloody rude. That's what it is.
Professor Edward Carlisle, can you tell me your whereabouts for last night?
Oh, yes, this dreadful business with Zachary. I stay at the local inn. You see, I prefer not to spend the night here at Thornbridge Manor. My brother Gregory came along for a nightcap. He'll never admit it, but I think he understands that I find this whole thing upsetting and wanted to provide some comfort. I believe we went to the Stag's Head around 8:30. If that's all, I have a speech to write.
Can you tell me about Zachary's behavior last night?
I certainly didn't expect him to commit suicide. Sure, he was upset by Mother's supposed death. We were. But he seemed more engaged than usual. You should ask Rebecca. They had a long talk. Did you know that he hadn't left Thornbridge Manor in nearly 50 years? His plants, Mother, and the staff, all the company he had. Anything else I can do to help?
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary?
You mean apart from the fact that we came here to bury our mother and she shows up alive and kicking? Zachary found dead in his bed this morning? Or perhaps that the planned funeral is still taking place and I have to do the eulogy? And Mother will surely have strong opinion on it afterwards. I can't breathe. Excuse me.
Edward claims he was out with Gregory last night. I wonder what Gregory has to say. Gregory, Alexa Carlisle's eldest son, can be found in the sitting room.
Gregory Carlisle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Oh, you're wondering about my alibi, Mr. Detective. Well, I left Thornbridge around 8:30 for a pint with Edward. I wish I hadn't. Quiz night at the inn. On the other hand, staying here with Zachary, my obnoxious sister, and the wife sporting another one of her headaches would have been a fate worse than death. The short of it, Zachary was very much alive when we left. I stayed for the last shout, and I was back here just before midnight. Anything else you want to pry from my intricate intellect?
Tell me about Zachary.
Zach? Huh. Such a sad old sod. A bit heavy on the bottle. But who could blame him? Only company he had was his rare plants and mother, who travels more than she stays here. Honestly, I can't say which is the bigger bore. He's better off dead. Is that all? Not very thorough, are you?
Anything else you'd like to tell me?
Nothing, really. I'm just enjoying the show. Our perfect mother obviously fucked up, didn't she? Faking her own death. You know, she's explained nothing to us. I think she's scared to own up to her own mistake.
We managed to eliminate 2 suspects. Edward and Gregory were out last night having a pint. By the process of elimination, we can now conclude that Emma is the guilty one. Now we must gather evidence that support our claim. In other words, we need means, motive, and opportunity. Let's talk to her, shall we?
Emma Carlisle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Surely I'm not a suspect.
I need to account for everyone.
Well, I spent the evening with my family, but I got an awful migraine and had to take to bed. Everyone can attest to that. I believe I went up when the boys sat down for a drink around 8 o'clock. Anything else you want to know?
How did you feel about Zachary?
I might as well be honest. His presence was always awkward. But how do you have a meaningful conversation with a man who only cares about plants? In my opinion, Alexa bears some responsibility for how this ended. She supported his self-limiting behavior by letting him live here. Is that all?
Have you noticed anything else out of the ordinary?
Nothing special comes to mind. Except, perhaps, I did get a feeling that Zachary was depressed, not just sad. I suppose he realized that he had no one with Alexa gone. Even Alexa must feel the pangs of guilt over that one, letting him believe she was dead. Then again, guilt isn't her strong suit.
Alone in her room with a headache. So she has no alibi. We go upstairs to poke our noses inside her room.
I should let you get back to it.
That door leads to Emma and Gregory's room.
Too many people around. I cannot use the crowbar. I'll have to find some other way to infiltrate the room. There are 4 clues in here. We go to the nightstand.
Now this is interesting, 47. A letter from Emma's mother stating that Emma is the illegitimate child of Alexa's late older brother, Montgomery. And listen to this. She claims to have witnessed Alexa and Zachary murder him. The plot thickens.
Holy shit! Emma is Montgomery's daughter, and she knows Alexa and Zachary killed her father. We found our motive. Revenge. And let's not forget, Emma thought Alexa was dead. With Zachary gone, Gregory would be the next in the line of succession, and he would inherit the family fortune. In a corner, we'll find a pair of shoes. Using the camera, we scan the shoes. Just outside the mansion, there are some footprints on the ground. If you scan those, you'll find that the shoes are a match. This proves that Emma was outside and not much else. Next, we pick up a keychain.
A keychain pendant for the greenhouse. What's that doing in Emma and Gregory's room, I wonder? And why is the key missing?
We continue. Pick up the walking cane and complete the challenge. That's a line from the movie Snatch. The cane is a key. I will show you what to do with it.
Incredibly dangerous.
So I think, yeah, what you said.
Here, activate the mysterious switch and complete the challenge Dog's Secrets. A secret room with a letter inside.
An old letter, 47. Never opened. Must have slid under the secret door nearly 46 years ago. It states that Alexa Carlisle's older brother, Montgomery, wanted Alexa to become the heir to the Carlisle Empire instead of himself. Interesting. You're an excellent detective, 47. Uncovering truths half a century old. If you frame it correctly, I believe you could use the information to convince Madame Carlisle that Zachary committed suicide. Maybe you should ask Mr. Fernsby to see her. Or perhaps you feel like digging a bit more.
Montgomery wanted Alexa to inherit the Carlisle Empire. Alexa did not have to kill her brother. She could have just waited. Damn. We entered the secret passage using the cane found in Emma's room. That means Emma knows how to access the secret passages inside Thornbridge Manor. And she knows all the secret passages because we found the Thornbridge Manor floor plans in the secret passage leading to Zachary's room. That's how she killed Zachary. She used the secret passage to enter Zachary's room, she poisoned his drink, and then got out the same way. If you remember, we discovered the keychain in Emma's room. That keychain used to be paired with the greenhouse key. Hold on, didn't Rosie say she and Patrick were almost caught by Emma while they were behind the greenhouse last night? What was Emma doing at the greenhouse? I think we should investigate. We go to the greenhouse.
Bad news, I'm afraid. We don't have any extra fuses. Ethel looked everywhere.
No power, no point. I don't believe for a second that Zachary committed suicide. We don't just run out of plans.
There are two clues inside the greenhouse. We approach the broken lab equipment.
Broken lab equipment. It looks like it was recently used, though.
Using the camera, we scan that book.
This is a table showing lethal dosages for the poison used to kill Zachary.
Something is circled, 47. Female, age 65 to 79, 60 to 64 kilograms. I'd say Madame Carlisle is next in line for a poisoning. You have uncovered enough evidence to tell Madame Carlisle that Emma is the murderer. Quite the detective, 47. I'm impressed. I suggest you go tell Mr. Fernsby.
Emma produced the poison that killed Zachary using the lab equipment inside the greenhouse. She then infiltrated Zachary's room through the secret passage and poisoned his whiskey. And she will kill Alexa next because she wants to inherit the Carlisle Empire, which she considers to be rightfully hers. The marker tells us where the butler is. We shall talk to him and he will lead us to Alexa's office. There we shall present our findings.
A bunch of old junk. Must be 100 years old at least. I don't know how the Brits...
I'm ready to present my conclusion to Madame Carlisle.
Very well. If you'll follow me, sir.
know if any new staff has started within the last...
This is Madame Carlisle's office.
Not that I know
Please
of.
step inside.
I need to keep an eye out, you know. Stay on top of things like that.
Your detective skills have gained you access to the Lion's Den, 47. Now, go claim your reward.
So, Mr. Whitmer, you've reached a conclusion. Take a seat. Please, go ahead.
We are not here to make false accusations. We throw Emma under the bus where she belongs. And we complete the challenge a matter of justice.
Your niece, Emma Carlisle, murdered your brother Zachary.
My niece? Emma is not my niece. She's my daughter-in-law.
And your niece. Emma is the illegitimate child of your late older brother Montgomery, who you and Zachary killed 46 years ago.
That's preposterous.
You asked me to find out what happened to Zachary. Would you rather not know?
No. No, go on.
I found a letter from Emma's mother, Jane, who was the fiancée of your older brother at the time of his death. She witnessed how you and Zachary pushed him off the balcony. She believed you did it to steal the Carlisle empire from her and her unborn child. And she raised Emma to reclaim what she lost, marry your heir, Gregory, get revenge, and secure the Carlisle empire for her bloodline generations to come.
Emma is the daughter of Montgomery and that local girl, Jane.
She is.
Well, the girl got it wrong. I didn't steal anything. I did what was necessary to protect the future of the Carlisles. Montgomery wasn't cut out to take over from father, all heart and no balls.
Emma used the funeral gathering to speed up her installment as the lady of the house, seizing the opportunity to stage Zachary's suicide. She did her homework, used a poison made from one of Zachary's rare plants, found old floor plans from Thornbridge Manor to gain access to his room through a secret passage.
That scheming bitch.
More than you think. I found proof that she will try to poison you next.
Well, I'll have to take care of that. Thank you, Mr. Whitmer. You have not disappointed. I promised you I would reward you generously if you solved the case. So, what do you suggest?
Case file, por favor.
I want the file you have on Arthur Edwards.
Edwards, the constant. But how do you... Oh, I see. I expected you might show up. But to kill me, not help me. But I've been wrong on so many things lately, so why not this one? I will give you the file on Edwards. You've earned it. I don't suppose I could convince you to deal with my daughter-in-law now you're here. I would like to see her dead. No? What a shame. I'll have to see to it some other way then.
Sir.
The file you want is in the safe. God, I hope you get Edwards and make him hurt.
I need some privacy. Thank you.
Good work, 47. That's the file on Arthur Edwards secured. Time to take care of Madame Carlisle. Mission complete. Well done, 47.
I shall exfiltrate using the river bridge. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Now I say, murder! Murder most foul! And until next time,
Greetings, sir.
don't forget to have fun.
On top of everything, Rosie thinks she's in love with young Patrick. I mean, that's a breaking heart happening, right?